Since I last stood at this podium, the extent of the Somali fraud in my home state of Minnesota has been exposed even further. 23-year-old independent journalist Nick Shirley put the sheer brazenness and magnitude of the fraud on full display by uncovering $110 million in daycare fraud in just one day. He simply looked for fraud and found it in a matter of hours. Our embarrassment of a governor and sorry excuse for an attorney general had 7 years to address it, and they didn't do a thing. I will also point out that our media has been asleep at the switch and has refused to do their job, which is holding people accountable on both sides of the aisle for their failures. Our worthless paper back at home is actually run by our governor's former commerce commissioner. And all they're still doing is trying to cover up for what is clearly one of the biggest fraud stories in the history of this country. From food nutrition assistance meant for children to fake autism centers and empty daycares. Tim Walz and Keith Ellison allowed fraudsters to take advantage of hardworking taxpayers at every turn. And now Walz is running scared. But let me be clear. Tim Walz dropping out of Minnesota's governor's race will not exempt him from the storm of accountability that is heading his way. Between the Oversight Committee's congressional investigation and President Trump's decisive action, Walz can try to run, but he's not going to be able to hide for long. The first assistant U.S. attorney for Minnesota revealed that the rampant fraud could reach a staggering $9 billion. Of the 98 people charged with fraud, 85 of them are Somali. Let me repeat again, that's $9 billion stolen from hardworking Americans to fund lavish lifestyles for Somali fraudsters and bankroll al-Shabaab terrorists. And I have 3 words regarding Somalis who have committed fraud against the American taxpayer and have refused to assimilate as Americans. Send them home. Our nation will no longer tolerate those who take advantage of our charity and refuse to assimilate into our culture. The full weight of justice and accountability is coming for Tim Walz, his administration, and the depraved fraudsters. The time for swindling American people is over. And with that, I turn it over to Steve Scalise.